Hi all, welcome back to more The Other Side of the Hill solo as my part 11. Um, Another day or so went by since the last part, but I'm still getting here when I can. Have probably about an hour just now, so I was kind of hoping I might be able to push a part in all in a 1 hour here, but as usual, we'll just have to wait and see. Just a couple of things to mention, a couple of comments that were brought up. One I asked the question in the last part, left the question. I meant to go and look at it in the rule book. Where is it in the rule book? Hang on a second. Yeah, and it was about what happens in the year phase when I get new generals. And let's say I have more than 30 generals. How do I deal with them? How do I cut it to 30? Who gets left out, basically? And I wasn't sure, and I thought I'd read somewhere about it being the lowest seniority got cut out first, but that's not really the case. And I probably should have went and looked at the section that talks about it in the rules rather than just ask the question there. Or, however, I've read this before anyway, and it's just I wasn't reading it properly. I don't think. So Martin came back saying you may choose any of the new generals, but cannot discard any that you already have. This is a solo rule that is different from the multiplayer rules. Well, I've not read the multiplayer rules anyway, so I can't sort of say that, that's because I read it in the multiplayer rules. So I went to look for the bit that he was talking about, and I was like, is that clear there? But it is. It's strange angle here. So here it is. Here, this is the you can see the New Year phase, and this is a section talking about the solo side of it, which is the only bit that's important to us or to me at the moment. This is on page 24, 5.3, New General Segment. So, and I've read this a few times, and I think I read it over it again just to sort of try and decide, and I felt like it wasn't quite clear as to how you cut from the 30. If you had 35, say, how do you cut the 5? But it does if you read it properly, and not like Grant does. So it says, place all general cards for the current year on the available general space of your board. So what we would do is, there's the available general space at the moment, and what I'd do is, I'd get the 1941 generals out, and I would put them in here. However, let's just say I had more than 30. Well, it carries on here, and this is the bit that I didn't really read and grasp what it was meaning, or thought about it in a different way. It says, if you have more than 30 cards, you choose which general cards to place. And that's the bit there. Now, I don't know if others might have read that and maybe found it a little unclear. I don't know. But when Martin mentioned it and when I read it again, I says, oh, okay. Place all, it starts the sentence there with place all general cards for the current year. And then you choose which general cards to place if there's more than 30. So any remaining generals will be added to those entering play next year. So if I've got 22 generals there, right, in my available, come this New Year phase, and I've got 10 generals to add from 1941, then only 8 of the generals can go in there. The other 2 are left behind. I don't pick 2 out of this. Like Martin says, I can't discard generals that are already available. So, and then we'd leave 2 out. But the 2 is my choice. It just says it says choose which general cards to place. So out of the 10, I'd place 8 of them in there, and it's my choice. Okay, good. I kind of felt like that's how it should be, but I don't know. I was, and yeah, I mean, reading that there, it's maybe just the way it's written through me, but I don't know. Martin sussed it out enough, so it might just be me. Everybody else might be fine with that and understand it. I'm not sure. The videos that I watched, I don't think the guys really showed you that step about how they dealt with the generals bringing them the new ones in. the two sort of video playthroughs that I watched. I might be wrong, but anyway, right, thanks for clearing that one up, Martin. Right, and then the other comment was from Carlos, the designer. He says, I'm not offended by criticism, especially if well meant, and I keep enjoying your videos. Right, yeah, I mean, I was talking about the rule book and the rules, and struggling a little bit, but it's good that he's came back and said that. I don't mean to, I'm not slating the rule book or anything like that. I'm just, I think things could have been set out differently. Improvements could have been made. I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody was to say to me, well, go and fix it, Gran, I wouldn't know where to start, I just, I don't know. It feels like things could have been done differently to make it a bit clearer in certain areas. But anyway, he does say, however, the rulebook does say in 6.22, page 26, the following, and it is marked as important. I mean, I've read all these things, so I won't jump down to it. 6.22, the important rule. No, I will bring the camera down to it. So it's where he said on page 26, 6.22 is the rule. Then it starts there. And the little important rule there was, there was a couple of things I talked about. I believed this to be true, but I'll say what my reply was in a second. A general is eligible for leading general even if his card's requirements for effecting combat are not met. Okay, so I've read that, and I knew that I could use a general that didn't have nothing happened in the combat, right? What my concern was, and my reply to him was, hi Carlos, thanks for your comments. I understand that a general could be used even if he didn't help in combat, but guess my only doubt was that if the generals were restricted to being used against the faction related to the faction symbol on their card. Glad to see I went the right way with this. And yeah, what we're talking about there is this general here. I understand that if he's not defending in rough, we're not going to get any of this, right? I also understand it needs to be against the Soviet faction defending in rough. I guess what I thought was that this threw me to the point that, and I think one of the other video playthroughs, I think the Agility Snips guys was looking at this as well, but he wasn't actually playing the card. I did decide that, you know what, I'm pretty sure you still use these, you can use these no matter what. I guess it was just like, you sort of feel when you look at that this general can only be used in combat against the Soviet faction. Whereas, was he in there? He was. Whereas, this guy can be used against either faction, And can use against either faction, but he's only going to benefit still if they're attacking. So if you're using him as a defender. But I think the Agility Snips guy was getting that as well. And he was saying, right, well, I can use this because it can be used against either faction. But if he was defending, he says he can use it, but it's not going to do anything. But, yeah, so that's the designer reply. So they can use them. It doesn't matter. These symbols don't seem to matter. So, which I thought was right, but anyway. He also carried on, so he says I was doing fine with that, because I did that way. And he says, on your question, a leading general must be activated for every combat. This is also in the first paragraph of 6.22, page 26, where it says, I'll just read this out. If there is at least one German army participating in the combat, a leading general must be activated. And I remember speaking, I definitely said that. I says it has to have at least one army, German army, sorry. Remember, German army, not to be confused with the satellite armies. And then you must have a leading general. So again, he says, so you're doing fine again. But so I followed up the last half of my reply to him was, and yes, I did feel confident that a general had to be used in every combat, but thanks for the rules references also. So good. We've got that cleared up. One that I was going to sort of add to that does it tell you in the rules anywhere? And I couldn't remember the question that was on my mind here, and I was watching back in my videos, and then it clicked. We talked about this being a German port while this is in control, and I was like, that doesn't seem like it sort of explains that very well. But I mean, I think we came down to the fact that it's common sense that if you've got a German unit in any one of these sectors, then you control the port. Just, I don't know, sort of feel, I mean, I don't think that's clearly described in the rules, and that's what I was going to add back, but I'm leaving that here, so I might I might get Carlos coming back pointing me to that rule where it says it. But anyway, we found out that because I went and looked on BGG and somebody had asked the question, and it was Carlos that answered that. Yeah, if this is if there's a German control desk in any of these sectors, that is control. It is a German control port. I don't know if that's the right wording there or not. You roll the dice to see if it's going to be in supply or not. Anyway. Okay, right, I want to move on because, like I say, I did have only about an hour-ish and I'd like to try and squeeze a part in. So, yeah, no more to talk. So, right, we're on 1940, the fall of 1940, and the administrative phase. And we left it there. So we're at the bombing in Germany step. So all we need to look at there is that box there, and as long as that's in the 5 place, then we're golden. Nothing happens, no effect. Right, move on. Next step, next phase. German replacements. Right. So what have we got? First off, we've got the Wehrmacht replacements. And they're up a nice 3. Excellent. Right, so we've got 3 of them. You can see we've got 2. That's still restricted to being 2, and that's restricted to being 2, but it's at 1 at the moment. The strategic warfare replacements, which is, to be honest, fine, because we only need 1. We can only move on 1. So the Wehrmacht replacements, we need 3. Right, so what are we doing next? That's probably something you should have thought about before you hit record, Grad. Where are you wanting to put these armies? We've done the France thing. Well, have we any for this year? These are the 2 military directives we've got left. So invasion of Spain, invasion of Turkey. The invasion of Spain requires that Axis controls southern France. There's a snag there. We don't, do we? Right, why? This feels a little odd. I mean, I'm not in Marseille, but there's not a Western control desk in Marseille, and that's what happened to France. I mean, what state? Yeah, it was stated that this got left neutral, didn't it? So, I think my thinking is there. Let me just look at where's the directives that we can use. They've all been used, haven't they? Right, if I look at the ones I didn't use, right, the 1940 ones here, these are the cards. Invasion of Yugoslavia, offensive in Libya, invasion of Great Britain. No, maybe that's not. Could it be diplomatic options? See, we've got this. So States of France is Vichy. So to succeed at that, Spain is neutral, we would get a +1 for that. Italy is an Axis satellite. Yeah, well, it is, isn't it? Great Britain is occupied. No, so we'd get a +1 and a -2. And we need a 5. Does that not mean we need a 6? So what would happen there? Diplomacy, Vichy. Yeah, right, see, these are the things I didn't really want. I just wanted to come up and... But these are bits that are important and you need to get right. I suppose... What about the invasion of Turkey then? That requires... What does that need? The Axis controls Romania, Bulgaria and Greece. Yeah, Area 14, so we would activate Turkey. Yeah. And to attack Turkey, we could attack Turkey from Bulgaria, which seems a bit silly, but or Greece. which makes more sense. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But. And this is just to decide where I'm putting my where I'm putting these armies. Oh, let's say Yugoslavia. Hungary's an Axis satellite, is it? Is Hungary an Axis satellite? I think it is, yeah. Diplomacy in Yugoslavia is going to be tough then as well, I think. Okay, let's just go for it. You know what, Grant? First time playing the game, we'll go for some things and just take some chances. Yeah, I think I'm noticing there's an invasion of Yugoslavia card that I don't have available to me until the new year, but I could have had it available. So I think that's going to be a better option than the diplomacy option. I think it's going to be. I don't think I'm going to have the dice roll modifiers to be able to do the diplomatic option. Okay, so right, I'm thinking maybe Greece. We're going to go into Turkey. So what I'll do is I do have a Panzer army left there. So I'm going to first replacement is going to upgrade one of these regular armies to a Panzer army. And I'm not sure what else. Right, I've got two other armies. Right, I'm going to upgrade one of these. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing really. So I'll upgrade one of these for one, and I think I'll maybe just because attack could come into there, so I think I'll add another army to there for my third step, like that. Let's go with that. Okay, so now Luftwaffe replacements is at 2. So it's add 1 air naval control track in any front or in the Germany box. Right, well, Germany box is full, so we don't need to worry about that. I wanted to maybe get this up to try and get supply back. So, I've got 2. I could actually push 2 of them in there, but we don't need to worry about the Eastern Front yet. I think I'm going to push that up by 1. The Southern Front, and I'm going to push the Western Front up by 1. It took a bit of beating, didn't it? So I'll push that up by 1. So that's our Luftwaffe replacements. Strategic warfare replacements you'll see is at 1. So we can nudge that up to 2 again. Good. And then we've got satellite replacements. Right, so 1 yellow die for each satellite country with armies in the first pool. We've got 2. I know there's 4 armies there, but there's 2 countries. So we're going to roll 2 yellow dice, and we need a hat. As long as we've got a hat, we don't need 2 hats. We just need 1 hat. If at least 1 hat is rolled, place an army in any of that country's home areas will land supply. Right, here we go. Yes, okay, good. Yeah, that would have been a bad one to sort of lose. Right, so what have we got? We've got Romania, Bulgaria, and Italy. Oh no, yeah, Romania, Bulgaria is fine. Now, hold on though. I'm assuming we can't place it in the isolated one. Yeah, you can't, Grant. I think I'll maybe just place the Italy one, one of the Italy ones in here, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. So that goes in there. Okay, that's satellite replacements. Right, now the production table. To adjust that. Now we gained a point from taking the France down to Paris and that, didn't we? So, well, our Wehrmacht replacements are at 3. Well, we've got 12. We've got 12 points, you can see. Wehrmacht replacements are at 3. We can't move the Luftwaffe beyond 2 anyway. So, well, what we need to know is our directives, what we're doing there. So looking at our production directives, both cost 2, so obviously we can't play both of them because you can only max it out at 3. The card submarine bases has been played. Submarine bases, the States of France is Vichy. Oh, well, it is now, so we can actually play this now. Ah, right, good. And we need to play this. Another card that I had in my hand was this. But I can't play that until I place the submarine bases. So we'd quite like that to be at 2. That was production, so let me just nudge that to there temporarily while I work out what else I'm doing. Right, and then the 2 political directives will cost 2 each as well. But, yeah, I've already said that I don't think diplomacy Vichy and diplomacy Yugoslavia, because the diplomacy Yugoslavia requires you get a +1 there, but I need a 5+, so you get a +1 for the top for the States of France is Vichy. Romania, Bulgaria is not neutral, so I'm not getting that +1. Italy is an Axis satellite, so we're getting a -1 there, and Hungary is an Axis satellite, you get a -1 there. So it's a -1 modifier, and we need a 5+. So I'd need a 6 for that to happen. And diplomacy Vichy, Spain is neutral, we got a +1 for that. Again, we need a 5 on this one. Italy is an Axis satellite, -2. Great Britain is occupied, +2. No, it's not. So again, that's a -1. So again, that's a 6. Yeah, I mean, a 6 is still doable. So, and that would mean that we need to put our political directives to 2 though as well. Let's move it there and just see. And then finally, the military directives. Well, I think, like I said, invasion of Spain we can't do. Invasion of Turkey is what we're planning on doing, and it's a 2 as well. Both of them are a 2 cost. So, yeah, you want the military at 2 as well, don't you? I'm guessing we can't have all that. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I'm 1. I've got to reduce one of them. I wouldn't mind having a roll at one of the diplomacy ones though. I mean, I know it's a 6, so grand. I could drop the Luftwaffe replacements by 1. I don't know if that's clear. Or I could take a chance and drop strategic warfare replacements again. Because we're... Oh, no. I don't want to do that. Because, I'll tell you why. Because submarine bases allows this gets removed, doesn't it? So I don't want to do that. So it's either do I just skip the diplomacy, or do I knock my Luftwaffe replacements down to 1? That's, I think, the decision. Because I want the military objective, and I want the production directive for the submarine bases, and both of them are 2. So I definitely want them at 2. Now, I think if I had the points, I would leave it like that. If I had 13 points, I would leave it at that and have a roll at the 6. But I think I want to keep my Luftwaffe replacements at 2. And because the chances of me rolling a 6 are pretty slim, you know? Not impossible, I know, but... Right, so I think I'll go with that. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, good. And I've not moved this track on, so that was that, and now we're on to our production directives. Okay, and that is a 2. So we're going to play submarine bases. So 1940 submarine bases. The prerequisite is the status of France is Vichy. Well, it is now. Remove the number 3 locked marker from the box 3 in the strategic warfare track. Okay, so that's just a one-off. We do that, we remove that, and now we can bump that up to 3. I will just put that there somewhere. And then that's that card done. And now it just gets discarded. And now the other card we've got in our hand, its prerequisite was card submarine bases had been played, and then however this is one of the projects that you put on the track and you've got to do it so many times, and that's to try and get that at number 4 box away. So, but we'll need to work on that. Okay, that was a production directive. So political directives, well, we knocked it down to 1, so we're not doing that. Well, I roll a dice to see. No, I'll do it off camera. I rolled a 5. Right, okay. Right, military directives. Right, we've got that set at 2 as well. Oh, hang on, I've done something wrong there. Oh, no, that's right. Military directives and production directives. Yeah. So, military's at 2. So, yeah, we're going to go for invasion of Turkey, I think. Let's do that. So, we're going to play that. It cost 2. I wasn't pointing that out, but that's why we've done that. So, the Axis controls Romania, Bulgaria, and Greece. Well, we do indeed control Romania, Bulgaria, and Greece. So, and our target here is Adana. And yeah, I mean, if we get this, we have Turkey occupied. But when we play this, we activate Turkey. So 3.4.1. So what that happens now, there's one combat pawn and it's going to go in area 14. I'll put the combat pawn on the card. It will be going in this area. But we need to activate this country now. 3.4.1. 3.4.1. Okay. Where are we? 3.4.1. Right, give me a sec. Right, activating countries. Page 14. Place a Western controlled disk in the lowest number 3 sector in each of the country's home areas, but not bases. The lowest number is going to be Istanbul, so it's a river space. Oh yeah, that's a resource as well, so yeah. And place a disputed alignment marker in the alignment box of all countries. Yeah, so there's only the one. Oops, it's upside down. There's only the one country, home country, Turkey, isn't there? There's not any other flags elsewhere. No. So place a disputed alignment marker in the alignment box of all the country's home areas that contain an Axis control disk. Sorry, no, we don't contain an Axis control disk. And then place a Western alignment marker in the rest of the country's home areas, including bases. Right, sorry, that goes like that, because we've not got a control disk in there yet. We're going to be attacking into there. And it's not got a base attached to it, no. The other 2 bases are British bases of Malta and Gibraltar. And we've got the other one that's Crete. So yeah, that's it. That's what we do. Okay. Right, moving on to the next step. So we're moving, actually, it's alright. We're moving into the operations phase now of the fall of 1940. This comes down here. Right, so strategic warfare is the first step. We're going to roll, we've got this back up to 2, so we're going to roll 2 dice, one of which is going to be grey, and the other which is going to be white. So a white and a grey. And for the allies, we're going to draw a card. No number equal to the drawn card, right? Combat card we get for 1940 is a 1. Yeah, so we get 1 Western dice for that. Alright, so that's what we've got. We're going to roll these dice and see what we get. Oh, good. They've got a hat and we've got a hat. Well, I think it's no effect, but I suppose we were rolling 2 dice to their 1 there, so So, yeah, that's a hit for them. Obviously, that's not a hit for us. And that's a hit for us. So, Axis hits equal Western hits, so there's no effect. Okay, well, could have been worse, I suppose. Right, movement. That's strategic warfare done. So, movement. So, operational movement. I don't know. I still don't feel we need to be moving things about too much. I don't know. Mind you, do you need these armies in northern France, these panzer armies in northern France anymore? For Great Britain to come in, that needs to be a landing. And we know that landings don't happen to 1942, so I believe, unless there's any strange weird cards that come up with events, that northern France is fine until 1942. So obviously our armies would be best placed now. It's got partisan markers, so we've got to leave an army in there. Our Western Front movement allowance will be 3. Now, can I'm allowed to overstack until... Yeah. Well, mind you, I've only got 3 movements, so... Well, what's the area that could get attacked? There's none of the areas that could get attacked, is there? On the western side things. No. I probably feel like I should be moving things just to... yeah, hold on here. This is the other thing. We've still never considered, right, this invasion of Great Britain, right? Let's see what the card says. Now, it's really hard to do these, and in fact, I read a post recently that basically said, is it worth the trouble, you know? Status of France is Vichy. The season is not winter. Here's the card here, right? So you'd have the prerequisite as long as it's not winter, obviously. Let's talk about doing it right now, Grant. No, I can't because I've not got this card in my hand. But if I had this card in my hand, it's not winter, it's fall. Now, it's a blue pawn you put in because you're doing an amphibious invasion, but you don't get... I want to see you only... what's called? You only get grey you can only use grey armies and... Is it satellite armies? Or is it grey armies and white armies? You can't use panzer armies anyway. But this bit down the bottom here sort of bothering. It says, before resolving combat, roll 3 western dice and you get -1 to air naval control in the Western Front for every air result. So, yeah, I mean, you want this up at that to get the extra dice for sure. I want to say you can only attack with 2 armies. The good thing about doing it now is that no, it's not based on... What is it based on? You don't draw a combat card, do you? It's quite different. Hang on a second. Right, so just checking the rulebook. Amphibious combat is on page 30, 6.9. So it says, only German regular and satellite armies can participate in amphibious combat. The maximum number of armies that may participate is indicated by the smaller number... The smaller number in the box with the air naval control marker for the front is. So, and remember, we've got to resolve this Battle of Britain roll as well first. So, we need to have that at 5. You can see that the small number in 5 is 2. That's the most armies. If that drops to 4, 3, in fact, if it drops to 3, it's 0. I can't attack with any armies. So if it drops to 4, Yeah, there's no chance of that, is there? I'm rolling 3 dice. That's tough. And although, where did their armies come from? No allied dice are rolled. Instead, draw a combat card and cross-reference the current year's roll with the defense column and the active combat card to determine the success number. So actually, you can use paratroops though. If it's not winter, but then I can't invade Britain if it's not winter. I'm just looking at the discarded combat card. So the defense for that card's a 3. So I would need to have 4 successes, basically. Wouldn't I? Yeah, you'd need to use the paratroops. So if the battle is in Great Britain, the combat is a victory if the number of hits in the Axis die roll is greater than the success number. I'd have to roll a greater than. If it's against a base, it can be equal or greater than. But against Great Britain, it's like got to be greater than. So that card there had a 3. What's the other card underneath? It's a 2. Let's just say we got lucky and it's a 2. We need to roll 3 successes. Bearing in mind, we're more than likely going to be attacking with 1 army. Paratroops gives us another army. So that's 2 successes. Yeah, we're not doing that. I mean, yeah, it's not meant to be something that's easy to do, so. Okay. So that was time wasted on something. Yeah, it was about moving things about, I suppose. Well, the Panzer armies are no good there anyway, if I do want to consider that invasion of Great Britain. I mean, I can invade for there, but I need satellite, well, I suppose ideally you just want 2 grey armies, don't you? Okay, where are we? Operational movement. We've got 3. I'm going to move... Right, here's a thing I'm not really sure about, actually. Well, you can just do it in a way that it didn't happen. It doesn't matter anyway. What I'm saying is I was going to move these 2 Panzer armies out and into here. When I do that, there's only 1 German army, so does he come away right away and become a vacancy? And then what I thought with my 3rd movement was move 1 of these regular armies into there, and then we've now got fill the slot again. I'm not sure about that. So what I'll do is, and it probably doesn't matter. I mean, I can probably just put him back in. He's probably going to be. Well, I suppose that, to be honest, that is a way. Well, is it? Does he immediately get removed? Yeah, it does. Actually, it does. It says that, doesn't it? It says that when there's only 1 army left, this guy would get removed. I'm pretty sure it says that. So that's a way of moving these about. You know, if I didn't want Von Weeb there. But these are all difficult things to work out what's best, and and I've not got the time for that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a Panzer army in there for 1. I've got 3 movements, so that's 1 on my 3. And, well, and you can temporarily overstack anyway, Grant, so I could have just moved that one in. So, and then I'm going to move this into here that's 2. And then finally, from the 3rd point, I'm going to move that into there. Was I going to do that? I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing here with the movement. I don't know where I'm going next. Well, let's just do that, right? Okay, let's do that. And on the southern front, I could I suppose I can move this. How much movement I've got? I've got 4 movement here. I can move that down to there. That's that maxed out. No, I might not want to do that in case this wants to move back. Then I can't move it back. No, I'm not going to do that. And the Eastern Front, can't we move? Yeah, because we can't. Well, we can move. Remember, we can move one German army into Italy now. Yeah. And this is adjacent, so I could actually move that for there or there, can't I? I don't need to do the strategic movement to do that, don't I? But then von Rundstedt is going away. See, maybe we should get a satellite army into here. You know, these partisan ones that are controlled, we want to just leave satellite armies in there, don't we? Now, is that satellite army allowed to move? No, I think it's a strategic movement. Satellite armies may not use strategic movement to move to the Western Front or the Southern Front. Yeah, well, he would be moving to the Eastern Front. But the fact this is adjacent, I'm using the operational movement, I'm moving from an area in a front to an adjacent area in another front with an axis control disk. Yeah, so I'm going to move, with my Southern Front operational movement, I'm going to move that into here, I think. Well, yeah, Black Sea's Soviet. I mean, we're eventually going to have to start building up, you know, my forces for the invasion of Russia, aren't we? But, sorry, not Russia, is it? Soviet Union. Yeah, let's move that to there, and oh no, I can't move. I can only move one army into there because it's Italy. Grr. So I can't move the other one out there anyway. I'll just leave that. I'll just leave it. Right. So strategic movement. I don't think I'm going to do any. There doesn't seem like an urgent urge to like move stuff about until you know what you're doing. I mean, I've got things set here. If I'm going to attack Turkey, I feel like that's enough. I mean, I suppose I could have possibly shifted the regular army out to get 3 Panzer armies there, but I don't know. Maybe I would have been that would have been wise to do that. Well, could you? No, I'd need to move that one out then, wouldn't I? Well, let's look at that. Let's consider that. I might need to step back now then. So, yeah, well, I didn't do it in the Southern Front. And I was doing the Western Front. I can overstack. Yeah, enforce stacking limits after all movement. Oh, hang on. There's a separate enforce after operational movement. Okay. So, well, no, Grant, you're fine. Well, you know what? Doesn't really matter this, right? That's fine. Right, and the southern movement, I've got 4. Sorry, I'm making a shambles of this. I'm going to move this. Regular army. It's adjacent to Yugoslavia. So I'm going to move this into here. And then that's all my operational movement done. Then my strategic movement, I'm going to move one of these panzer armies into there for 1. Remember, my strategic movement is 5 based on that. So that's 1. And then for the second one, I'm going to move that panzer army down there so that I've got 3 panzer armies in here. I don't know if that's overkill, or it's silly, or it's whatever it is. I don't know. Right, and all the movement, I don't think any generals got affected there. Because you need to watch that, because I'm sure it says you remove them right away when, there's not 2 German armies in the area. So I think that's all I'm going to do. Wait now. I might move one of these into strategic movement box. I don't know why, but yeah, let's do that. So that was 1, 2, 3. That's 3 movement, right? Yeah, let's do that. I'm not quite sure why, but right. So air movement, redistribute access between the 4 air and naval control tracks. Yeah, okay. Well, I can't move. You're not allowed to move that one down. Not that I would want to do that anyway, but I think I'm probably good actually. Well, I mean, you could get this. I could bump this up by another 1 and get this extra dice. This was going to be. Yeah, let's do that actually. Let's knock the Western control down to 2 to bump this up to 5, because this will also help with the supply. The Libya area. Right, let's do that. Right, command segment. Okay. Right, yeah, sorry. Move this on to command. Right, there's nobody being questioned or anything like that. Yeah, we'll get around to seeing that as things move on. I don't think there was any vacancies. I did think I might have ended up with 5 armies in here, which would made another vacancy for that one, but no. No, I can't see any issues with that. This is all good. So, yeah, it says anytime an armies box has insufficient German armies for the number of army group heads, immediately return an army group head to available generals. So as soon as you move an army out there and leave 1 German army, then he would get removed. So it's a good way of moving your generals about, though, I think. Right, dismissals, there's no dismissals, there's no appointments. Right, move on to the next step. I'm going to be running short of time now, though. 48 minutes, right. Axis offensive. That's where we're on. We've got an Axis offensive. So we place this in area 14, which is Turkey. We've got the prerequisite. Everyone's fine. Either has a disputed marker or is Allied control and is adjacent to an Axis controlled area. It's Allied controlled and it's adjacent to an Axis controlled area. So, all good. Yeah, hopefully I can get this done. Yeah, no available combat points. Well, there is. Right, so combat resolution. I'm going to go and find the cards. This is annoying, but... Right. Yeah, that's annoying. Right, but I've got I can look at it in the rulebook, the combat. Draw and reveal, yeah, there it's there. Draw and reveal 1 combat card. Okay, well, yeah, we're going to attack into Turkey with our military directive, and we need to take a Dan out there. But you can see it's a plains one as well. So again, we could do the second advance and hopefully take that out. Well, we're going to draw a combat card first. So yeah, so let's see. Well, there's going to be a combat because it's us that's conducting it. So they're defending. They're getting 2 dice. Not so good. Right, so they're defending 94 with 2 dice. Okay. So now we activate our generals. Right? So we've got von Rickenau. He's our AG head. So what does he do? Hopefully it does something, but I'm not sure. And this is where you should move. Oh, yeah, right. So you can attack in against any faction into any terrain. So it's going to work for us. A controlling player may reroll 1 die in the allied combat roll. The new result must be applied. Right, so he's another guy then, because it wasn't him, was it? Or was it? Was it him? Was he the one that caused all my... You've got this guy which is in the allied combat role, but he only cancels these results, which is slightly different. No, not seeing any of them there. It's to do with the allied combat role. This is where I'm having a little bit of a... Well, you know what I said? Oh, hang on. That's cancel 1 result in the allied combat role, but it's a plain one. That one there. Yeah, must have been this guy. I think he's the one that caused the trouble. So, yeah, because this is a re-roll, and this is, yeah. I'm going to stick by the way I'm doing it, right? Although the designer did give me permission to roll all the dice at once and then decide, I'm going to stick by the way I think it's written in the rules, that I need to roll the allied dice first and then decide if I'm going to. So anyway, he's our head of our AG, but we also now need, because there's 1 German army involved, we need a leading general. So give me a second to see who's coming along. Right, so none of the generals have got the seniority, the highest seniority, or 1 below, are any good again. So I'm just again going to use the guy that's involved in the Soviet only, I think. Yeah, because this is the fall, so we're moving into 1941. So I'm going to use this guy who does nothing for us. There we go. Right, that's that. Gunther von Kluck. Right. And yeah, my pronunciation of these will be as they are. Right, so there's, and then so the allies are rolling 2 dice, that's our 2 generals. We've not got an OB. So allied combat roll. So I'm gonna do this, like I said, they're gonna roll 2 dice now. I then can decide if I want to re-roll 1 of the allied combat roll dice. The new result must be applied. Okay. So they're rolling 2 dice. 2 blue dice. And see what we get. One's a tank and one's a plane. Ooh, right. There was no special effects. So it's not in a plane. The combat's not in plane, so it's going to be a 1 hat, and the plane is going to be reducing the front. Now I bumped the front up to 5. They've got 1 hat. I don't think we re-roll any of them actually. Well, you're getting 3 Panzer armies, Grant. You could take a chance and re-roll that. Because I don't mind them getting 2 hits. Control player may reroll 1 die and allied combat roll, new result must be applied. Because we're having 3 Panzer armies. Well, actually, and a white dice. Which is... Yeah, I suppose we... Suppose you have to roll these dice though. Yeah. Because for events side of things. Right, well, I think I'm going to re-roll the plane then. We'll keep the tank for them. I'm going to re-roll this because I don't mind them getting 2 hits. I might get an event here. Right, okay, it's the same. Right, fair enough. So that's their roll. And then we roll ours. So like I say, we've got 3 Panzer armies, 3 black dice. Is there not 3? I think I said this before. There's only 2, isn't there? Yeah, okay. Right, and then because this is maxed out, and remember that plane hit's not going to happen just yet. If it happened in the special effects bit, then that's a different story. But so we get an extra white dice for this. So I've got 3 black and a white. And we're going to roll this. So I'm going to re-roll one of these black ones. Right, so 1, 2 hits. The white dice did nothing. And I'll roll 1 more black dice. Right, so 3 hits. So we've got 3 hits to his... I'll just bring this white dice along, just to show. Right, so we got 3 hits. Let's say this should be a black dice. So the first thing that happens is... well, I don't know if it needs to be the first thing, but that is an air hit on our front. So that goes down to 4. That's that dealt with. And then we've got 3 hits to their 1 hit, so we win. There was no combat cards, so we are greater than they are, so we can advance. If the next sector is planes and does not contain a landing marker, we take 1 reduction to advance the second sector. So that's what we're going to do. So, excellent. So we win the battle, so we advance into Istanbul, knocking him back. And then before this should be disputed now. Well, it's not going to be disputed. I'm going to advance a second. And sorry, hang on. I can only bring 2 of these armies with me. Because this is a partisan and we control this. We occupy this Greece. So he's going to come as well, though. And this it's going to become disputed. Right? And then the chance to advance the second hex. This isn't a plane, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to advance the second. Sorry, calling it a hex. And to do that, I've got to take a reduction. So that needs to be reduced down to a regular army. That goes back in the force pool. All good. New era. Move at least 1 attacking army and move activated head if 2 armies move in, which is what I've done. I've had to leave 1 army behind. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we can tidy up this combat now. So the Von Reichenau goes back to the in-command generals, because he's our AG head. Gunther von Koig has been activated, and this combat card can go away. So that went well. I think I could take that pawn away. I'll put back on the... Well, I don't know. It doesn't need to go back on the card, does it? And that's us, right? Might just wrap things up there. Because that's our axe offensive. We only had 1. So I think we're just moving on to the Western offensive. And yeah, that probably is a good time to just stop. I'd like to go on, but... Yeah, well... Military directives. Where am I? I'm too far on here. Hang on. Yeah, that's our Axis offensive done. So now moving on to Western offensive. And yeah, good time to stop. That's it. That's just about an hour as well. Okay, cool. That went well. Looks like we're turkeys in the bag. And yeah. Well, the 2 video playthroughs that I've been watching through are both playing the 1942 start. So it's a completely different situation. because obviously the Germans are they're on the decline now, back and just starting to come back to defend. So it's a different thing altogether. This feels like it's nice and smooth, everyone's going good, and yeah, I mean, that's how it went, isn't it? So, okay, I'll leave things for now, and then hope to be back again sometime soon. Okay, cheers.